And we are live. Welcome to episode 49 of American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf, and I've got my nondescript buddy Doug here today. Doug with a lowercase d.
Yeah, I know.
He's that low maintenance, everybody. You don't even have to capitalize his first name. Yep. Now, before we went on, I was just saying that I had made it to MonsterCon this past weekend and had really enjoyed myself. It was my first horror con. I had gone to a Comic Con once before, and this was many years ago, and I didn't understand the rules where, like, I paid, but then I didn't understand that you had to pay extra to meet people on top of that. So initially I was kind of put off, but I missed what I hope is not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to meet John Carpenter. John Carpenter was at a Wizard World Con from 15 or 13 or whatever, and I was debating, and it was like $30 to meet John Carpenter. And for some reason, I just decided against it. It was the year that Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and they were the big thing. And on top of like the $50 that you paid for the day, it was $85 to get into like the panel discussion, but I guess that included a photo and an autograph and all this kind of stuff. And I don't regret that, but I do regret not taking the time to meet John Carpenter.
It's a bargain for $30.
For $30, yeah. I mean, but we were talking about it on the show before, and like I hear, secondhand information, but I hear that if you come up to him and you start talking about Halloween, like you can literally see him roll his eyes, because I guess it's been 50 years. Yeah. He's ready to talk about something else. And I hear actually what gets his attention is if you want to talk basketball. But
who the hell wants to do that when you go to a horror convention?
I don't know, man. I guess he keeps showing up and, hoping that an original conversation will take off. And who knows, ours might have been that. But I missed the train, and hopefully, shit will stay open so people can go. I mean, I was saying earlier, there were some people there who had glass shields up, some of the older before actors and things like that. And, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to make it sound disrespectful. But I appreciate, those guys could have just as easily said, I'm not doing it. But, they came out and met the fans, and, I found everybody to be super approachable and friendly. It was a good time. So hopefully I think there's going to be more coming up in March, and we'll get a chance to all gather around because you weren't able to make it this weekend.
Next time.
I hope so. That will be really cool. Okay. Shall we get it going?
Let's do it.
Now, I apologize in advance. I would have been perfectly happy to make it lowercase and not give you a last name. You got to let me know.
I noticed that you did it.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to blow your cover.
It's okay.
These days with everything going on in the world, people are trying to, leave a small footprint. This movie that we're talking about is written and directed by a guy named Shawn Linden, who is not a name that I was or I am extraordinarily familiar with. He's hardly one of the big names in Hollywood. But I did a little research, and he has two films that I find quite interesting. I think this is his third feature, and we're talking about Hunter x Hunter. And he has one called The Good Lie, which is the story of a man who, after his mother passes away, finds out that he is a child of rape. So he makes these really gritty movies, apparently. And so he goes after his biological father after his mother passes away.
Okay.
That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah,
that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
He's got another one called Nobody, which is about a hitman who kills a man apparently at the beginning of the movie, and then is pursued throughout the movie by what seems to be the same man that he just killed. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but then again, if you would have told me this movie was one thing, just to watch it flip,
yeah.
Here we are talking about it now. Now, I don't think I discussed this with you. I had seen around May, something like that. Sundays are a good day for me to sit down and lay on the couch and watch a movie. So I was doing that, and I was flipping through all the streaming channels, and I get to HBO, and I get because everything's alphabetical. I get to the U's, and I see that there's this movie called Underwater. Have you seen that?
I have, I believe. Yeah, is that they're pursued by underwater beings kind of thing?
Yeah, with Kristen Stewart.
Yes, yeah. I saw
yeah. Okay. So I'm like, am I really going to watch a fucking Kristen Stewart movie? Jesus Christ. This is like, the bottom of the barrel I'm hitting here. And within like 10 minutes, I was completely enraptured. And now I own it on Blu-ray. And, I'm telling everybody I know that, there are at least 2 phenomenal Kristen Stewart movies out there. There's another supernatural one she did called Personal Shopper.
Yeah. It's in my queue of my watch list. I haven't watched it yet, though.
It's good shit. This reminded me of that because this was another movie that came out last year and just got blown off by COVID.
Yeah.
COVID just tanked everything last year. And there are, with Underwater, it was one of the few movies that Disney agreed to release in spite of the fact that they had just bought Universal, Warner Brothers or something. And it was one of the ones that they consented to release. Apparently, there's a whole lot of movies that were bought when that merger occurred that Disney just looked at and say, no, we're not. Like, they were made, they were filmed, they were ready to be, released. And then Disney said, no, that's okay. We don't need them. Underwater was one of the ones that managed to make to avoid the chopping block. But this was another movie. I had never heard of it before.
No, me neither. Yeah, I mean, I specifically didn't read after you, mentioned we were going to discuss it. I just waited and didn't read anything about it or anything. I wanted to watch it straight from, for the first time.
The last time we were together, we had covered The Devil's Candy, and I think we were both in agreement that a lot of the good indie horror is on Hulu.
Yeah, it really is.
So that's where I'm looking for good shit. I mean, I looked at HBO the other day and they've released some Hammer stuff. And so I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm always up for some Hammer horror. But I'm always on the lookout for the gritty stuff on Hulu. And when you also consider that it's part of that IFC Midnight.
Yeah.
When I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, we got something on our hands here. Okay, this is going to be worthwhile. This is going to be good shit. So when you put those two together, you're like, damn. Okay. So, tell me what you thought. What did you?
Well, so I put it on, and I'm thinking, why are we reviewing this? Like, it seems cool. Like it captured me right away, but it seemed like it was like an outdoorsy adventure kind of thing. They're hunting a wolf, and I'm expecting like a Jaws kind of thing, like a big wolf that is attacking people and all that kind of thing, and it got weird when he found the bodies, like he found the bodies in the woods, and by that point I'm like, it's taken a weird turn now. Like I will say that it did have like sort of a tense feeling, like just their family situation and the way they chose to live and all that, and so. Like it was sort of psychological in that aspect or thereabouts, but I didn't see horror exactly coming at me, and then when he found the bodies, I'm like, all right, this is getting weird. It made me perk up, what's going to happen.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't know. Did you initially feel as though maybe he set those bodies out there to catch the wolf? Because that's when I first saw those bodies out there and he was kind of hanging out with the bodies. I started thinking like, well, maybe he maybe it's going to be that he's the killer that like tied these people up and left them out there as bait for the wolf.
No, that didn't occur to me. That didn't. I'm not that grim.
That's what I would do.
Really? Okay. Are you getting the state police? Yeah, please. His last name's in the intro. Okay. No, that I didn't get. Okay. So we start out with a family that, for some reason, in relatively modern times, although, you know, I'd say within the past 20 years or so, is living in the woods. And like, I don't mind doing out like hiking, but like the idea of like living in the woods is just.
They're like catching their shit every day to eat. Like, like they're really in the woods, washing their clothes in the river and, you know, all that kind of nonsense.
They're not thriving.
No. Yeah. It's a sucky existence.
Yeah. It's a crap existence. It's this man and this woman, Joe and Anne, and their daughter Renee, and they're living in the woods, and it's not good living. They're basically living off what they can hunt. They're selling pelts like it's the 18th century or something like that, you know.
Yeah, crappy pelts, not even good ones.
Yeah, in like muskrat, and you know, it's just
ferrets or something stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just they're not thriving. You know, they're setting traps and they're mapping where the traps are, and you know, the girl's not going to school, and like there's no money. It would be one thing if you could see where they were like living in the woods, and then you would see they would have all this money and just going for like a resupply.
Yeah. But like she's begging food and stuff from people.
Yeah, and they're just—it's just terrible. They're eating like squirrel meat. They're literally living off what they catch that day.
Yep.
Like it doesn't seem like there's any refrigeration. There's no electricity. They've got a truck.
It's parked like miles away or something too. Like they have to walk to it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know that. I was having this conversation lately, and I think sometimes the better horror movies are the ones that are rooted in. They don't necessarily have to be rooted in horror. They're rooted in this kind of reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so you were right. You know, right away you can see that this family, at least the husband and wife, are kind of at odds.
Yeah, because she wants to move out. Yeah, she doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, you know, and he's just
very, very stuck on that existence. He doesn't want to change it.
Yeah, and you know, you get the impression maybe he lived that way, or you know, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, she has that one line, you know, she's like, people don't live like this anymore, and you know, his basic answer is, well, not even you're going to tell us that we can't live this way. I think he says nothing pushes us out of our life, you know, not even you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that kind of sets the tone. And then, you know, I found that to be kind of refreshing, and that, you know, they've already kind of set up this dynamic within the family, and then shit starts to happen. Where you realize that they really are kind of outmatched.
Yeah, by their situation, by the nature around them and all that. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, and you know, what you realize is that, you know, the dad's not really a good leader.
No, yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not. He's not really a great provider. He's not really like, you know, pushing them any one direction. He's just obsessed with what we think is the wolf.
Well, I mean, he's just kind of obsessed with living out there.
Yeah, and that maintaining that lifestyle at all costs.
And you realize after a certain point, I think a lot of it is about him and his anxiety. Because there's that one scene where he thinks he sees someone in the woods, and he has to, like, he's all nervous because he doesn't remember to say hello to people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
That's how far removed he is from, you know, day-to-day interactions with people. I mean, you know, I don't know, nowadays everybody has social anxiety, you know, this, that, or the other, but you know, he literally struggles to say hello.
Yeah, he's just not used to seeing people and interacting.
No. You know, and once what we find out is that there's Here's what I thought. I think you were right. I thought this was going to be like a man versus nature kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, more in the vein of Jaws or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I thought.
Or what I thought was, maybe you've got some sort of supernatural thing going here in the woods. Like
Yeah,
something's
ancient curse.
going on in the woods, or there's like a werewolf, which it kind of turns out to be the case. Just not the way that you think. But they just stumble onto this wolf, and I don't know. Would you be afraid of a wolf?
Me personally, probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
I imagine I would just keep on walking, and I would think, well, if I'm not fucking with the wolf, then the wolf's not going to fuck with me. And I go.
Look really nasty though.
My understanding is that there's a huge difference between a wolf and a dog.
In terms of attacking you mean? Or
well, no, I mean just in terms of physical appearance.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's not the same animal.
Yeah.
Like I've lived in places, where there's tons of wild dogs, and that doesn't bother me at all. But I guess it's easier to, say that I wouldn't be scared of a wolf if I stumbled into one in the woods. But
but then the thing is too, that wolf was frightening, but it wasn't like what I was anticipating from the build up in the movie. I was expecting like a giant wolf that was really, really, really horrifying, and that was just like sort of a regular wolf.
That comes back to the mom, Anne, who is, she lives out there with him, but she's kind of meek, and she takes her husband's lead. It's very kind of traditional. I'm the man, so I'm in charge. You're the, one of us has to be in charge. So it seems to be Joe. She doesn't seem to, she doesn't do any of the hunting or anything like that. So even if she wants to leave, she still sort of takes her husband's.
Yeah, listens to what he says and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems to get the final say.
She's making the squirrel sandwiches.
Yeah, she's busy washing the clothes out in the river and
doing all that crap,
keeping the house and doing the cooking, and he doesn't even seem to go into town.
No, not at all.
That's her end of the responsibilities. But what happens is, even though he's a bad leader, you think that Joe is going to be, you think it's the man against the wolf, literally man, like man versus nature. And he's gone within about 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. And because he definitely seemed like he was tough enough, like sturdy and knew what he was doing, and he was a good hunter, and he could track all that stuff and smell its poop and know what it was and all that kind of thing.
Well, if you're looking at the title, Hunter, there are several different types of it suggests that there's more than one type of predator and prey out there.
Right.
And I think he was prepared for what he thought the problem was, until he stumbles into something else, which is, and it's actually very difficult to find any overlay for this movie. I had some difficulty finding anything because it's such a small movie.
Yeah.
That didn't really receive any sort of, big release or anything like that. But he thinks he's hunting this wolf and he finds a bunch of dead bodies.
Now, so at the end, well, are we jumping too far ahead at the end to discuss something at the end, sort of, or?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the guy in the cabin says, "Is that what he told you he was hunting?" To the wife.
Uh-huh.
She said he was out hunting a wolf. So now that begged the question to me: Did Joe actually know what was going on and he was hunting the killer, or was he still thinking he was hunting? I was wondering if he actually kind of knew what was going on.
Well, I imagine that once he discovered those bodies, he knew that there was a killer in the woods.
Yeah, so maybe that could be. So maybe
it's a wolf in the sense that it's a predator.
Right.
And it's a wolf in the sense that the killer is a wolf.
Had that been going on for a period of time, and was Joe right from the outset hunting that guy? That's what I was wondering.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. No, because he literally was practicing saying hello when he thought he saw people in the woods, and then he stumbles into the camp and finds out that they're bodies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he wasn't sure that they were alive or dead, I guess.
Because remember, he's like, hello.
Yeah.
He's trying to remember what to say to people. and then he realizes that it's bodies. And I think that's where he fails the most as a leader. He lets his family remain in danger.
Yeah, right. He doesn't go back to try to take care of any of that or anything. No, he just
No, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess he's at that point he set the traps and stuff, and he's looking for the person that did it, maybe. But yeah, he didn't go back to his family, which would have made the most sense because there's obviously a lunatic in the woods.
Yeah, there's a lunatic in the woods. You don't even tell your family.
Yeah.
You don't tell your family to leave. Take the truck and go into town and get the police, and even if he's going to stay out there, and want to be Mr. Survivalist, taking on, whatever, this different type of predator. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't speak.
Just leaves it hang. Yeah.
Yeah, he just kind of leaves it hanging, and then the next thing he's just been complete. He just disappears. And that leads me to think there must be people like that living out there.
Oh, sure. I'm sure there is. There's plenty of movies about him anyway, but yeah.
Really? What do you think? I mean, what
movies? Gosh, I can't remember the name. I thought it was a remake. Oh, the Wrong Turn movie was another one with a whole society that was the latest Wrong Turn movie was pretty good. It was like a whole society of like hillbillies that were
living off the grid.
Yeah, living off the grid. It was actually pretty good.
Okay.
I'll double check the name of it and send it to you.
I know I've heard about the new Wrong Turn. I don't know if I have access to it because, like I said, I only have the streaming channel, so I'll have to check it out. I remember a story. This old boss of mine a long time ago. He's a hunter, and he was shooting a deer, and I can't remember if he was a bow hunter or I guess it was rifle season or whatever. And he says he killed this buck, and he went to go claim the carcass, and out of nowhere, this other man appeared and challenged him and said, "No, this is my kill." And he said he got the distinct impression that like this guy was like using this like literally like this was his food. Like it wasn't like some sort of sport thing, and like he got like the guy was getting so amped up, he had the impression he was going to like point his firearm at him, point his rifle at him. So he's like, "Yeah, cheers, no problem. I don't want any problem or anything like that." But he said, yeah, he had gotten the distinct impression that this guy was.
Oh, sure, man. I imagine there's areas that have just people living off the grid up in the woods somewhere. I'm sure that exists.
This wasn't far from here. I mean, his business was in Galloway. I mean, we're out here in the Pine Barrens. There are tons and tons of.
Oh, dude, growing up, there's all kinds of weird stories I had from growing up back there. Yeah, I mean, I was there my whole life. It's but where I was in Weymouth. It's like Okay.
Like, were you out there?
I was in Weymouth. Yeah.
Okay, off Weymouth Road.
Well, right on the Black Horse Pike.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, behind us, like I grew up riding, going through abandoned houses and stuff. Like, just it was crazy stuff back there. It was nuts.
People just squatting.
Yeah, just all kinds of weird stuff, man. Yeah, it was strange. Why like the woods kind of creep. I like the woods, but they kind of creep me out all the same. Like it's just that kind of, I don't know. It's just like movies with woods always creep me out.
Yeah, there's there's always that Blair Witch possibility, this kind of thing, and
there's just something out there you don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
to see. I'm more of a city person now. I like lights and people around me.
Yeah, I like lights. I like electricity. If you ask me to go camping, the answer is no. I
fantasize about camping. I just don't do it. I have tons of camping gear, but I just don't go.
When I was overseas, we took the kids to this island and we did an overnight thing where we actually slept in hammocks. Hammocks that you attached, but they were hammocks that you zipped all the way up to keep the bugs out and everything like that.
Yeah.
And at night, this was in Indonesia, in like the Suji Islands or something. You could hear the critters literally running underneath you.
Yeah, see, I don't need all that, man.
And you're like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And you can imagine that there must be ticks and bugs and living in that cabin, and you're just like, yeah, this is miserable.
Yeah, like their life looks horrible.
Yeah, and she wants to get out of it, and she's like, "Look, we could, I could get a job. We could talk to the bank about buying a house. And,
like a nice house and stuff.
Yeah, our daughter can go to school." And
he's just like, "No."
Yeah, we're not doing, and you're like,
like, what's wrong with you, man?
Yeah,
Idiot.
And it ends up being their undoing, really.
Yeah. The last 5 minutes. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I couldn't find any pictures of them, but we start to get introduced to these park rangers out there. And it's really bad because once Dad has been taken out of the picture, she's trying to explain about a wolf to the rangers, and they're like, "Well, you're really not supposed." I mean, they're not jerks, but they just
the guy's like, "What do you want me to do? It's a wolf, and you're in the woods. Like, what?"
Yeah, like you're not even supposed to be living out there. Like what do you want us to do? A wolf is going to be a wolf. She's like, well, it was really mean, So she's saying she's not articulating very well. But what really brought it home for me was he's like, look, I don't want to be a jerk, but what do you want us to do? And she just looks at it. She goes, do you have any food?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, these guys are just.
Yeah, they're really, really destitute.
Yeah, and then the dog gets it.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just being taken off the board. So finally it's mom and the daughter all alone in the middle of the woods waiting for Dad to come back. And then we get a visit from our good buddy, Nick Stahl. I love Nick Stahl.
I didn't even recognize that it was him.
Really?
Yeah.
Until just now?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The minute I saw that Nick Stahl was in, I'm like, wait a minute, Nick Stahl's in a horror movie. I'm fucking watching that. And it's like not even a question. I remember Nick Stahl as far back as HBO series Carnival.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, I love that show.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
That is one of my all-time favorite shows. And of course, it got canceled just like Rome after 2 seasons because what we really needed were 6 seasons of Sex and the City. We needed 8 seasons of Entourage. We needed 6 seasons of Ballers, and every other brain dead asshole, project that you could possibly think of. But yeah, man, Nick Stahl, he was great in Terminator 3.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought he was a great John Connor.
He's really good. Yeah. And he's just older. I didn't recognize him.
He's older. And I think he has like he had, such as it goes, a pretty severe substance abuse problem.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think he disappeared off the grid for 6 months. Like his girlfriend thought he was dead or something like that. It was I remember it was in the news. They're like, Nick Stahl has just disappeared and nobody knows where he is or something. And I think he was on some sort of long bender and his career never came back from it.
Well, he did a fine job in this one.
Yeah, he did. I'd love to see more of him.
Yeah.
It could be one of those things, like Tom Sizemore.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had a huge meth problem.
Yeah, he was a mess for a while. Yeah.
But his career never came back. Now everything is he was on the A-list.
Yeah, no, he really was. He was in a lot of stuff I watched, in the 90s, I think.
Yeah,
remembering correctly.
And I remember, I think I read somewhere once that during Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks got him in that movie as the Sarge.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to I don't remember if they tested him or what. That was Hank's condition. If you want the part in this movie, we have to piss test you every day. You have to be sober. You can't come in here all schwacked out.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether Nick Stahl is still struggling with that. I hope he's not because I think he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he was really, really good in this.
And he plays this to perfection. And I think they're waiting for Dad to come back, and all of a sudden they find this guy in the woods who's half dead from hypothermia. And I assume he was attacked by the wolf or he got into it with Dad.
My feeling is he got into it with Dad. I was wondering if the wound on his leg was a trap wound initially.
It might have been, or he got hit with part of that, or Dad slashed him, or
because
he got grazed with a bullet.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I think. Yeah, to me, I think he battled with the father because he seemed to know the father was out looking for something. And again, back to that line, is that what he told you he was looking for, the wolf or whatever? Whatever he said. Yeah. So.
Well, he found one, just not the one that he thought. And I mean, he's fantastic in this. there's a there's an thing that Instagram profile that I follow. It's called Nature is Metal, and
Hmm.
it's like live videos or photographs of just things, just the awful everyday things that happen in nature.
Oh yeah, like what, like the wolves sitting in the ribs and that kind of thing, or
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
or lions,
yeah,
and
all like
or
looking cute but all bloody.
yeah,
Stuff like that, yeah.
or like they had this one that I remember, and it was a fly, and he was stuck inside a Venus flytrap. And it's just about to close, and he's just got animals, at that level, not really showing a lot of emotion, but he's literally about to,
Being
just be
eaten.
consumed, and this happens, countless billions of times every day, in the natural world. And it drove home the idea that like these people, they shouldn't have been out there.
Yeah, yeah, not at all.
I mean, and if you were doing like your own little house on the prairie thing, I mean, those people had a sense of community. There were groups.
Yeah, it wasn't just one lone family struggling to collect some hides and boil water and stuff.
Yeah, this was just bad. And once Nick Stahl shows up, to me, it sort of went from a wolf movie to a werewolf movie.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because like Nick Stahl adds a human dynamic to this thing.
It was intense when it switched. Like I really truly didn't see it coming. I mean, maybe a little bit toward when we found the bodies and stuff. But like I said, I kind of thought that maybe we'd discover the father was crazy and like
he had just gone
set those
crazy out in the
people,
woods.
yeah, and like set those people as bait to try to catch the wolf because he's so obsessed with catching the wolf. That's what I was thinking. Because he wasn't like super surprised when he saw them all dead. He wasn't like super duper surprised. Like I don't know. I just kind of took it that way.
I think he is. Well, I think Dad, is kind of gone native out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like again, I think the daughter wants to be like the dad. The mom's the only one with an ounce of common sense. But the only things that live out there are predators and prey. And I think it just hadn't occurred to him that
he might be the prey.
He might be the prey. His family might be the prey. Like a wolf is one thing, that people can understand, but not
a crazy
man. Not a serial killer.
Yeah.
He didn't count on a serial killer out there in the woods, that kind of thing. And so, he's gone. And then the dog is gone. And then Nick Stahl shows up. And the daughter's gone. Renee is gone.
Oh, that was a tough one. Yeah.
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 And I appreciated that they didn't show it.
Yeah.
They left it to your imagination.
Yeah, that made it a lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can just imagine, that this was,
whatever
what he
happened
did to her
yeah.
before he offed her this, that, and the other. And I found it to be ironic that the most meek person who burst into tears when she had to kill a rabbit to survive becomes almost like a Ripley type character.
Yeah. At the end, yeah.
She completely transforms into someone who is capable of the most horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy at the end.
Cold-blooded thing to avenge her family.
That was intense.
Yeah. The first time I saw it, because there is tension throughout. It's just tension for different reasons.
Yeah. It's very tense. It is very tense. Like, yeah, it's just their turmoil, the way they're living, the stuff they're going through, everything. Yeah.
And then there's the wolf, and then there's the tension about that. There's the one scene where the daughter, she makes that asinine statement. She's like, what was it? You were out there when you were 8 and I'm 13. And he's like, I was mean. By the time I was 8, I was already a mean, guy. And she's like, well, I don't need to be mean. I'm smart. And then 15 minutes later, she's running through the woods with tears in her eyes, trying to get eaten by this fucking wolf.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you people just don't know what you're doing out here. And so, they go from the family dynamic to the wolf to Dad being gone. There's constantly these shifting reasons for stress.
Yeah, but made it very effective.
Yeah. Again, another fantastic movie, just around 90 minutes long.
The end.
nothing really unnecessary, and then it just boom, it hits you, and it's over with. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's the thing. They really didn't show a whole lot of gratuitous violence really until the very end. It was just,
Yeah.
Then it was like over the top, crazy great.
Yeah. Where she finally applies all the things she learned,
Yeah, yes,
from
for
her
daughter.
daughter or her husband, Anne becomes, yeah, she was a far better leader than her husband was, but it's not enough because they're not in the right place.
It was an incredible movie. It really was. I was very surprised.
Yeah. One of these days, if I were to find it cheap on DVD, I'd buy it.
It was oh wait, I'm just answering something. Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. I would definitely buy it too. I would, like I said, I was completely shocked. I knew nothing about it going in, and kind of had somewhat lower expectations as it started. Because again, I thought, well, man versus nature, all right, but it did suck me in.
Maybe there's a giant grizzly bear somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I stuck with it, and by the end, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile, man.
Very much so.
It's good stuff. Another IFC midnight success. Another movie that slipped through the cracks of 2020 because, in the lockdown.
Everything's.
I guess not a lot of big releases, but. The minute I saw a movie on Hulu in the horror category with Nick Stahl, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, this is happening. Yeah, this is happening right now, and I was not disappointed. So, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the flick?
No, man. I think we covered it all. It was definitely recommended. It was shockingly good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a couple, and I guarantee you this is a movie, if you were to approach people, they hadn't heard of it before.
Yeah, no, totally. I never did. Yeah, absolutely.
I know one. Yeah, I know one person who's mentioned it since I advertised that we were going to do this show on it. They're like, yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. So get to it. If you get a chance, it's on Hulu right now. Hulu has a really good habit of keeping their movies for a while. And, go catch it if you can. It's 90 minutes, and it's going to be better than most of the pretentious crap you're going to catch on like Amazon or some other bullshit like that. So very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, if you see this video, like the video for me, please. Subscribe if you think it's worthy. Thanks to my buddy Doug for stopping in. Doug with a small D.
Hey,
that's his name. Hey, well, I don't know you that well. I'm not, but I'm just reading by what's on the screen. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing.
Don't make me stand up.
Please don't stand up, please. At least let me turn off the camera if you do that. Thank you. Yeah. We'll be back next week with we're at it again, you and I.
Yeah, that's right.
Next Wednesday, that's right. We're doing The Ninth Gate. I am looking forward to that. I haven't seen that movie in quite a while. We had just done our top 10 list, me and the usual panel. And it was kind of cool because it's 4 guys that are on the panel, 5, but one lives out in LA. So he has trouble coordinating because of the time difference. And I said, hey, let's do a top 10 favorite horrors. And 4 guys came up with 40 different movies. No overlap. So
really?
Yeah, no over. Like nobody said, well, hey, you can't say that because you can't pick this because I picked it and your 2 is the same as my 3, and there was nothing. Everybody come up with 10 movies. Everybody put their 10 movies down. 40 completely different movies. But I think my number in my top 5 was The Ninth Gate.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, man.
So I'm gonna have to. I'm looking forward to it because now I get to watch it again.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
Now I get to watch it again, and that's always makes me happy. We'll be back on Wednesday, Doug and I, for The Ninth Gate, and then we'll be back on Thursday when John and I cover Brightburn, which is a really solid flick, and we're looking forward to that. So thanks again to Doug.
Always a pleasure.
One more time. Stick around after the outro, please. And for everybody else, don't waste your time with bullshit. Have a good